It's time for the 49ers Rush Podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
Oh boy, we now know where we're going to be for 18 weeks of our life in the fall, and now it goes into the winter. These games go late now, but the schedule just came out. We're talking, like 5-10 minutes ago. There were a lot of leaks going on. Here's what we're going to do today. Now, I think a lot of podcasts and whatever else, they go through and they try to do, is this a win or a loss? Whatever. That's not what we're doing, okay? We'll have some time to go through those after minicamp and, after training camp and all those things. We're going to do that. But what I want to do is go through, look at our schedule, and I ranked each one of them 1 to 17, which we have to do now. There are 17 games, right? And so you go through and you kind of figure out this one's the easiest, this one's the most difficult, all those different types of things, and you try to figure that out. Now, again, as we look at this, and man, there's a lot going on. We're going to be talking about road trip stuff. We're doing at least 3. The dates kind of screwed with me a little bit. I ain't going to lie. Nashville was a lock. They go throw it on Thursday Night Football, the week of Christmas. And I don't know, whenever I asked everybody, and we're going to go through the full schedule. I'll throw it up here, actually. I'll do this right now. So if you want to take a screen grab, if you're watching this where you can see video, just put the schedule up. You want to take a screen grab of that, whatever you want to do so that you can have it. It's also, you can find it at 49ers.com. You're going to see the schedule everywhere. I'll take it down in just a second. But if you want to grab it, you can. Nashville was my number one destination. I love that city. But it comes out on Thursday Night Football, week 16, going to be cold as hell. And it's, right before Christmas Eve. It's December 23rd. So that one kind of hurt. But let me know. Again, if that's the one everybody wants to go to, then, that's cool. I'm totally down with doing that. I'll have to swing some stuff with the misses and all that stuff. But if that's not the one that you want to go to, y'all need to let me know. We got 3, okay? And so just understand that's kind of the way that works. Now, the Rams one, I live here in the Rams, so I guarantee we're doing a get-together there. And what these are going to entail, we're talking about a huge event. We're going to be renting out space, whether it's a bar, event hall, brewery, hanging out the night before. So Rams week 18, I'm in LA. We're going to be having a good time. We're going to be tailgating together. And, man, it's just going to be an absolute incredible experience bringing the 49ers community together. So if you're one of those people that you go to games by yourself or whatever for financial reasons, or your family's just not too into it, or if you're single, who cares? Man, we going together, baby. And we're going to have a good time. So a lot of stuff that we've got to get through this episode. It's going to be a long one. So let's buckle down and let's figure this out. Now, the schedule starts off week 1. And again, I ranked all these games 1 through 17, okay? And as you start looking at them, man, it just gets easier and easier and easier. It's just what it is. I already could tell I messed up one of my numbers. I was flying through these as fast as I possibly could, and so I messed them up. And here's the thing. Here's what's crazy. Week 1, we travel to Detroit, the Lions, 10 a.m. kickoff. Jared Goff, a poor dude, man, can't catch a break. I got to play the 49ers again right off week 1. Dude just has no hope. Brand new coaching staff. And so this game, again, it's out of 17. And usually road games, that's a big deal. That kind of marks down it increases the degree of difficulty for sure. But this Lions week, game 1, I've got it as the 16th easiest game. 16. Out of 17, and it's on the road. Brand new coaching staff. They don't know what's going on. Don't like their coaching staff. And Jared Goff against the 49ers, he doesn't have the Rams behind him. It's one of the worst offenses in the NFL. Now, one thing that will be fun, Nick Bosa's versus a Penei Sewell. That's going to be fun to watch. I like that. Also, little nugget, this has been floating around Twitter. This is not mine. The last 2 times that the 49ers opened the season in Detroit. They won the Super Bowl both times, 1981 and 1984. One before I was born, one after. Here we go. I think it's time to do it again, baby. I like it. So this is the 16th easiest game. I think I phrased that wrong. It's maybe I phrased that right. 16th hardest game, I think, is the correct logical term. I see on there, Shot Jay says, I want you here for a home game and some tequila. Yeah, I'm going to make it to a home game for sure this year. The only reason why I'm not planning anything big for the home games is, one, I'm still a little hesitant on the amount of capacity that is going to be allowed in the stadiums. Santa Clara, as we know, they were the most strict last year, and obviously Santa Clara County, the lowest numbers, COVID numbers across the country almost. But I'm just hesitant to say, yeah, let's do this one until we figure this out. Some of these other places, they had almost full stadiums last year, so we'll be able to plan accordingly for that. But yes, sir, tequila, I can't wait, man. You guys know my drink. I'm a beer and tequila guy. I love whiskey. It's my favorite, but I had to cut back on whiskey. Bad things happen. Anyway, week number 2, open up back-to-back road games. And this happens twice in our season. Okay, so weeks 1 and 2, we're on the road, Detroit, then Philadelphia. And then you got to go all the way down to weeks 13 and 14 on the road to Seahawks, which isn't too far, and then the Bengals. So usually these road games are the ones where you're like, oh, gosh, this is so long and all this stuff. Not the 49ers this year. This is a very favorable travel schedule where you're not doing back-to-back East Coast games and, 10 a.m. kickoffs and stuff like that. You have Lions. Okay, that's cool. Detroit is still, I guess, Eastern time zone, but it's not near as far. And then you got the Eagles. You get it out of the way early, and they're both very easy matchups. The Eagles, both those are 10 a.m. coaching staffs, but I have the Eagles as the 13th hardest game we got. 13. And so, I'm not too worried about this game. Again, brand new coaching staff. Back-to-back weeks, you open up with brand new coaching staffs. Quarterback, turmoil, change, all these things going on. It's interesting. And I love it, man. You mean this is my murderer's row? This is my terrible road game? Good Lord. Last year, the 49ers didn't even have a home. We were on the road nonstop. And so you come out of these 2 games, got some easy matchups, man. Got some easy matchups. Number 3, week 3. Finally get our home opener, under the lights, primetime game, one of 5 primetime games. We have the most, and we should. Versus the Packers. 5:20 kickoff, Sunday Night Football, primetime. I love it. Now, they beat us last year. But outside of that, we have had Green Bay's number. Is Aaron Rodgers going to play? I'm pretty sure he will. But here's the thing. They beat us last year, but you got to remember this game. This was the COVID close call game, right? No Trent Williams, no Jimmy Garoppolo, no Kendrick Bourne, no Debo, no Ayuk, no Mostert, no Kittle, no anybody. We had Richie James and Craycraft were our starting wide receivers that game. It was a joke. It should have been played anyway, but you come back. I have this rated as the 7th hardest game on our schedule. I just don't really, I think the Packers are a better team. They're just a bad matchup against us. And so not too worried about this game at all, but it is going to be fun. Primetime game, home opener, that's going to be a blast. After that, and this is the tough stretch. You have the back-to-back road games, and then you have this 3-game gauntlet. At home versus the Packers, week 3. At home versus the Seahawks, week 4. Then travel to the Cardinals, week 5. That's 3 pretty quality opponents. Now, week 4 of the Seattle Seahawks, I have this ranked number 6 on our schedule, 6 hardest. We usually go home and home or split the games. I'm telling you right now, this is the worst Seahawks roster in a decade. The worst Seahawks roster in a decade. I don't know how they continue to get more top heavy. Them and the Rams, just all the talent just is at the very, very top. No depth, no quality starters, and it's just top heavy guys. How much of a difference can Russell Wilson make? That's the question, right? This is what they usually do, is terrible roster, okay coaching, and Russell Wilson, go save us. Eventually, that's going to run out. So that's why I got them number 6. At the Cardinals, week 5. I got this number 5. The Cardinals, for some reason, always play us close. Even if you go back to when we made it to the Super Bowl, both those games kind of came down to the wire. And so it's a rough game. Divisional opponents are always tough. We have the best division in football. There's no doubt about that. I don't think anybody would argue. So I've got that one number 5. Tougher than Seattle at home. But the Cardinals, again, you guys, I've talked a lot about this. I do not value Kip Kingsbury and kind of what he is. And yeah, Steven, I see you. Steven says, we are the gauntlet. There's no murderer's row on this schedule. There's really, really not. Because week 6, you get your bye week. Okay, so you got Packers, Seahawks, Cardinals. Yeah, wouldn't be shocked if all 3 of those teams made the playoffs. Like, there's some quality opponents there. But then you get a bye week. So you go 3 games, only 1 road game in that little stretch there, that 3 game. That's all right. Now you're walking into the bye after 5, games. Worst case scenario is you're 2-3. I don't think we'll be 2-3. But you're winning the Eagles. Now you're on the road. You never want to say, oh, they're locked up. But man, that's worst case scenario is 2-3. Now I think probable scenario, right? It's probably going to be 4-1, 3-2. Now we're in the bye week, and this is the very first time Trey Watch kind of starts. I've been very adamant. I really, really want Jimmy Garoppolo to be the starter this year for so many reasons. And the time to switch is when Jimmy proves to you he's not going to how do I say this? Number 1, if he gets injured, he's out. Number 2, if he's not exceptional, he's out. I don't think that Kyle is going to have a short hook with him. I know a lot of fans want that. But, yeah, this is kind of where Trey Lance starts going. I hate this bye week. Jason, I'm with you. He says, this is brutally early bye week, especially when you're talking about an 18-week season. I hate this. I was really hoping for weeks 9 or 10, kind of in the middle of the thing. This is going to suck because from week 7 on, man, you're talking, if you go to the playoffs or the Super Bowl, how many weeks in a row is that? You're looking at 11 more regular season weeks plus another 4 to the Super Bowl. That's a long time with no break. You better get that first seed. That first seed is more valuable than anything ever. But you focus on things kind of in a quarter of a thing way. Schedule used to break down just fine because you'd have 16 games. So 4, 4, 4, 4. Try to win those things, each individual section. Now it's 17 games. How do you want to do that? Because the 49ers have 5 weeks and a bye, you are looking at this schedule. It's broken up for you. The first quarter is 5 games. Lions, Eagles, Packers, Seahawks, Cardinals. And you kind of reassess after that. 4-1, 3-2 after that, you'd be very, very happy. I think that's where you want to be. Now, you come off the bye week. And again, that bye week, that's where the Trey Lance, that's probably where the opportunity for him to step in is going to be. Because that's going to give him 2 weeks to prepare. But guess who it's against? It's against the Colts. You come back from your bye week, Sunday night football game versus the Colts, DeForest Buckner. You're going to have Carson Wentz. We have the Bison versus the Bison, baby. Kind of look at that. But that's going to be a fun game. Now, I think that it could be the hardest game for sure on this entire schedule, except it's home. And it's coming off a bye week. So because of that, I kept pushing it back. I think the Colts are the best team on our roster, or on our schedule. Like, if you just look at depth charts and who's the best team, I think the Colts are the best team that we play against. I'd put them ahead of the Titans. I put them ahead against the Seahawks. I put them ahead of the Rams. But because of division opponents, road schedule, bye week, you mean to tell me we get 2 weeks to plan for this game? All right. And trust me, our team's going to be up for this game because the Colts have so many 49ers on their team, right? Not just Buckner. They've got some other guys over there too. So I think that this is going to be a tough game. I've got it ranked number 4. But again, if I'm just looking at who is the best team we're playing, this would be number 1. I think this would be the most difficult. Because we're at home, because we have a bye week, man, we got a big favor here. I guarantee you when the Colts saw this, they said, wait, we got to go to San Francisco and they're coming off a bye week? What the hell? That would have pissed a lot of people off. There's a lot of stuff on there that would, when the schedules come out, every single fan base thinks their team gets screwed. The truth of the matter is, East Coast and West Coast teams get screwed the most. If you live in the central part of the country, you have such a huge advantage. Travel time wears on you. It really, really does. And so that's week 7. I like the way this schedule's shaped out. I really, really do. You keep looking through this. I've got some summary notes that we're going to get to when we get through this. But, man, this is a very favorable schedule. So Colts travel to San Francisco. We play them week 7. Week 8, at the Bears. Now, this one, Halloween, it's going to be bananas. I hate that it's a 10 a.m. kickoff. But could this be Justin Fields versus Trey Lance? Why not? Let's make that happen, baby. I would love that. Week 8, I have this the number 9 most difficult game on our schedule. But the Bears are weird. Again, poor coaching. The quarterback position's always been in flux. I think Justin Fields fixes that. He should be starting by then. I don't know if Trey Lance will be, but Justin Fields doesn't have near the competition that Trey Lance does. It's just not even close. Jimmy Garoppolo is so much better than what they have at the quarterback position for the Bears. And the surrounding system is so much better. So it's not even like, okay, well, Jimmy Garoppolo and Andy Dalton are comparable. No. Look at the supporting cast that Andy Dalton has. It is nowhere near as good as what Jimmy does. And so the success is going to be lesser. So I 100% expect Justin Fields to be starting by week 8. I would say probably 60 to 70% chance that Trey Lance is starting by week 8. This is about where the transition would be made. This seems to be the case. Week 8. Week 9, you go home. You got the Cardinals, 125, so a late kickoff. That's going to be fun. Week 10, we stay home versus the Rams. That's a Monday Night Football game, baby. So the Cardinals at home I have ranked as the 10th hardest, and the Rams at home for Monday Night Football, 8th hardest. The reason why I have that at 8, I keep going back and forth on strength of schedule and kind of who I think is the most difficult. I think the Rams are going to be the toughest matchup for the 49ers. I really, really do. Do I think the 49ers are better? Of course. Kyle Shanahan owns the Rams, and we own their stadium. But this game is in Santa Clara, and again, I think these are it's the NFL laid this schedule out for it to be a 49ers versus Rams rundown, because that's our Week 18 matchup. Spoiler alert, right? So usually every single Week 18 matchup is a divisional opponent. So all 16 games across the NFL. And, they put the Seahawks versus the Cardinals there, and they put the 49ers versus the Rams. That's what it's going to be. That's what Vegas is saying, right? These are the tough games. These are the games that are going to determine who gets the bye week, who wins the division. That's what it's going to come down to. So this, you talk about gauntlet. I don't think there is one of those, but I think this is the toughest stretch of games on the schedule, but 3 of them are at home. Colts, at Bears, Cardinals, Rams. So 3 home games, but again, man, that's a 4-game stretch that's pretty tough. And, man, here's the great thing. After that, you get a little bit of reprieve in talent that you're playing with. Yeah, you play back-to-back home games against division opponents. That's awesome. Now you got to fly across the country to Jacksonville, week 11. But here's the good news. You're playing Jacksonville. You get to go against the ACL Trent Baalke's. And so that's exciting. You're not too worried about them. I think the Jags are very far away from being a successful team. Even if Trevor Lawrence is great, it doesn't matter. I have that ranked number 14. So that's where that one is at. And again, but then right after that, yeah, you go to Jacksonville. You come all the way back. You got a home game versus the Vikings. Kirk Cousins, who's going to be Kellen Mond? Who knows by then? I think the Vikings have a pretty good team. I wish this was a primetime game because Kirk Cousins is just allergic to primetime. And so that's kind of where we're at there. I have that ranked number 11, 11th hardest game. I'm not worried about the Vikings game at all. They do have a good defense, but, man, their offensive line and defensive line, it's changed dramatically over the last 2 years. They're not what they used to be. Then we get what I think is probably our hardest game of the year, Week 13, at Seattle. Sunday Night Football. The place is going to be bonkers. For some reason, Seattle's just a special place to play. And, they weren't there last year. There were no fans. So it's going to be crazy, and they better be crazy because this is probably the last year they have Russell Wilson. So that's just kind of where it is. We'll just have to kind of see where that goes. But that's my number one most difficult game on the schedule, Seattle. It's just a tough place to play, week 13. But you're on the road. Then you go to the Bengals. So again, back-to-back road games, which sucks. But you get Seattle, and then you got the Bengals, which is awesome. Again, 13th most difficult game on our schedule. Really not too bad. Joe Burrow's incredible. They're building some pieces there, but that defense is so far from being able to compete. That offensive line, they didn't really address it. So they're just not a complete team. And the only thing that I hope is that Joe Burrow doesn't get the Andrew Luck treatment and go through another beating like we saw last year. I'm not a Bengals fan or anything like that, but I hate when top-tier talent gets wasted because of the front office. And, it's not a 7-on-7 league. That's what I don't like. JD, I did call him Cliff Kingsbury. Yeah, that's what I call him all the time. And so I do that on purpose. That is correct. Now, after week 14 at the Bengals, you come home. Falcons at home, baby. 105 kickoff. Falcons, I don't think, have a great team. They got a good offense and a lot of skill positions, and they uploaded those as well. Who knows? This might be the battle of the tight ends, right? You got George Kittle, obviously Kyle Pitts. This might be the new future. Kelsey, how long does he have up there? But who knows? This might be a wonderful tight end thing. Kyle Shanahan going against his old team. Falcons beat us last time they played us. And so that's going to be something to watch there. I don't think that that's a gimme game, but I do like it. I don't think it's too difficult for sure. Week 16 at the Tennessee Titans, Thursday Night Football, 5:20. That's December 23rd. So family time, baby. I really want to go to Nashville. It got the most votes. We'll have to see. And again, I'm going to let everybody know which games we're traveling to by this weekend. So just understand, don't book your stuff yet. Try to hold out. And again, let me know which ones you want to go to. Because, the ones I'm leaning to now at Philly, I think that would be a lot of fun. Week 2, get an early game in. The Rams, week 18, I want to do that one as well. And then, Tennessee or Chicago for the road trips. I just think that would just be so freaking fun. But back to week 16, I think the Titans on the road on a short week, I think this is the second toughest game on our schedule. I actually like the Titans roster a lot. They're skill position players. The wide receivers are a little weak, but they're a very physical team. And I can't wait to see Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw against Derrick Henry just for the test. Like, I want to see best on best, right? Who's the best linebacker in football? I don't think anybody disagrees. It's Fred Warner. Who's the most physical running back in the NFL? It's Derrick Henry. That's going to be fun to watch. I'm going to really, really enjoy that one. And so I have week 16 as our second toughest game. And this is what's so awesome about this schedule. It's every difficulty. You look at it like, ooh, that's going to be rough. Either before it or after it, it's like, oh, nice. You get to take a little break. The Texans, week 17, the Texans. They still have a football team, I believe. The Texans, really? Ugh, the Texans? They're going to be coming to the 49ers, and I have this as the easiest game on the schedule. This is number 17. Even with Deshaun Watson, which I doubt, things are just so weird there. Deshaun Watson's incredible on the field. I still think he's a top 3 quarterback. But that roster is just depleted. It is so bad. And so, I don't know, man. The Texans, I think, are going to be bad for a long time. And I think that they are by far, once the odds come out in Vegas on picking who has the first round pick or the first overall pick and all that stuff, which I love partaking in, I'm putting a lot of money on the Texans, just so you know. And we get them at home. Week 17. And then the last schedule we got, week 18 at the Rams in Los Angeles, ending it at SoFi Stadium. I think this is just going to be a blast. 125 game. Again, that last week, there's only 2 times for games. There's no Sunday night. There's no primetime, whatever. That's the third hardest game. And that is the one that I can 100% confirm we will be at that game. We will have everything set up for our hangout and our events, all those things, week 18. Now, couple things that I want to talk about. And I'm seeing, I love this, Marquez. Hey, Hate flying into Chicago. Always flight delays. That is correct. There are. The good news is about Chicago is it's not super late in the year. It's Halloween, so it might not be too bad. Because whenever you're going to places like, Lambeau, the Packers, Philly, New York, whatever else, Boston, you're looking at what time of year those games are at. There's no bad weather games. If you look at the Seattle game, which, hey, perhaps the Seattle game, let's see here, week 12. No, week 13, sorry. That's December 5th. Yeah, it's going to be cold, but it's not like late December. So December's, you don't want it to be that, but it's not going to be terrible. We don't have a lot of bad weather games, which is exciting. We're in Chicago, Halloween, so we're going to be all right. This schedule is very favorable. You look at, and I saw this earlier, when you're looking at strength of schedule, there's two ways to look at it. The most common way is, okay, how many teams and how many wins did they have the previous year? If you look at that from last year's, right? The 49ers, we have the fourth easiest schedule. And so if you look at 2020 win totals, I don't think that's the best way to look at it. The best way to look at it is, what is Vegas saying about each team's win total, the over-under, right? You look at those, then you calculate. And if you look at it that way, the 49ers have the easiest strength of schedule by a long shot, which is awesome. So I really like that. So if you look in the rear view mirror, 49ers have the fourth easiest schedule. If you look in looking forward, the windshield, we have the easiest schedule. And a lot of that has to do with week 17. Because the way that it slates out is how you finish in your division. 49ers finished fourth. Our entire NFC West is paired up with the AFC North. Probably the second toughest conference or division in football. I think it goes NFC West, hands down, AFC North. And guess what? We got Cincinnati for our 17th game. Whereas our opponents got the Browns, the Ravens, and the Steelers. Not even close. Those are some solid teams. I hate the Browns, and I dog on them all the time. They got a pretty damn good roster right now. So, man, you're looking at just these little bitty pivot points for how things can turn and go into the 49ers' favor when looking at your division. And there's no doubt. This Week 17 game, I saw Cincy on there. Whoo, boy. I'm loving the way that looks. Like, I am absolutely loving that. Now, again, you break down, okay, so we went week by week and we ranked out all the games. Now you look at the differences between road and home, because typically what happens is, if you can just hold serve on road games, split them, go 4-4, used to be 8. We have 9 road games this year. But if you just go 4-4, you're almost going to make the playoffs if you can do that on the road. Well, let's look at the road games. Our toughest road games are division opponents. That's 3 and the Titans. We've got 4 difficult road games. We're winning a couple of those, if not all of them. And then you look at the other games that we have left. 4 of our easiest 6 matchups are all on the road. With so many easy. Lions, Eagles, nothing there, man. Bengals, that's awesome. Jaguars, I don't care where you play. That's just going to be, the 49ers are going to be favored. Now, could they drop one on the road? 100% yes. It happens every year. It's the NFL. It has the most parity. But again, this is favorable. Whenever I first saw the schedule, I was looking for the black hole, the gauntlet, or whatever. Where are we getting screwed here? And so I go through it, and I was like, I don't see any, I don't see any WTFs. Okay, let's go back through. All right, I love this schedule. The only thing that I was pissed off was that Titans game on Thursday Night Football. That's the only thing I didn't want. I didn't want that to be the Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football, because I really, really wanted that to be a game that we could go to and, whatever else. But maybe it is. So maybe it still will be. I don't know. I got to go through the dates with the wifey and sit down with the calendar and the kiddos and try to figure out birthdays and all that kind of stuff and where everything fits and doesn't fit. But I'm excited. And I really, really do think that it's going to be a good year. Again, this is not my schedule prediction. As I was walking in to record, talking to my oldest, Joseph, he's 17. he said, all right, I'm going through the schedule right now. I'm going to tell you how many they're going to win. I was like, all right, cool. You let me know. And he said 14-3. So Joseph Chapman, you heard it here first, 14-3. Got to hold him accountable now. These are his, what he thinks it's going to be. And yeah, I'm with you. Any given Sunday, anything can go wrong. There's no doubt about that. But man, I absolutely love this schedule. I feel way better about the season now than I did. I hate the early kickoffs on the road. I don't like 10 a.m. kickoffs ever. I always want to play that afternoon game or the late night game. But you got to take that for what it is. This is a question from Sean. Do you think if there are any playoff implications, do we rest players against the Texans before we go into that matchup? No, I don't think that you can unless, I don't think that there's any way that you can rest players. I have a pretty hard time seeing Kyle Shanahan do that. He's kind of talked about like the message that sends, and I'm kind of with him there. You go out and play. And yeah, the Texans are bad, but Kyle Shanahan used to coach the Texans. There's ties there. And I guarantee you, the good news is you might not have to play super hard. They're that bad of a roster. By far the worst roster in the NFL. I don't think it's close. It's kind of rough, like looking at, Philadelphia could take a turn for the worse. They've had a lot of turmoil and change. The Lions, obviously very bad. And the great news is those three teams, you're talking about the worst teams in the NFL. They're all on our schedule. They're all there. Jacksonville, you think they're the worst? Guess what? They're on our schedule. The only team that might be worse or comparable is the Jets. I think they're moving the right direction. They're not on our schedule. But man, find a terrible team in the NFL that's not on our schedule. And you could say the whole NFC East. Yeah, somebody's got to win that division. 7-9 won it last year with Washington. But we have Philly, but no Cowboys, no Giants, no Washington. But yeah, we play the bad teams, guys. We have bitched and moaned about getting screwed over by the schedule for a long time. I'm telling you right now, they did us a favor this year. The 49ers are walking around pretty freaking excited and just double checking to make sure they didn't get something wrong. Because again, there's so many issues where it's just like, ooh, really? This is it? All right, we're cool with this. Quick question. What are the most crucial games you see on the schedule? Now, the most difficult games I see on the schedule, number 1, at the Seattle Seahawks, Week 13, Sunday Night Football. Number 2, Tennessee Titans, Thursday Night Football, short week, on the road, cross the country, all those things. Those are the two hardest games. The crucial games, I'm going to tell you this right now. Both games against the Rams. If you ask me, okay, and I always play this game in my head, you get to pick any two games to win on this whole schedule. Guaranteed wins, no questions asked. The number 1 game I would say is Week 18 at the Rams. Number 2 would be at the Seattle Seahawks. That would be huge. But if you win both those Ram games, I'm telling you right now, you're in the playoffs guaranteed. Now, you can lose both those Ram games and still be in the playoffs, but the Rams and 49ers are at the top of this whole thing, and they're beefing it out. Russell Wilson's going to pull his magic. We'll see how that goes. But again, you look at rosters, there is no doubt who is at the top of the NFC West. It is the Rams and the 49ers. You look at Vegas odds, Rams and 49ers. You look at win totals, Rams and 49ers. You look at podcast experts, media personnel, whatever, Rams, 49ers. There's no doubt. Now, the Seahawks, I understand they've been doing it for so long. I get that. I totally do. I was on a podcast. I don't remember who I was with. I've been on too many. I think I've been on 7 podcasts in the past 5 days. I got 2 more tomorrow. Good Lord. Which is awesome. I love it. Not complaining. Sorry if I sounded like I was complaining there. Not at all. A little tired, but happy tired. But I don't remember who I was talking about or with or what podcast I was on. But I was saying, man, I would not be, if I had to bet who's going to finish last in the NFC West, I'm betting Seattle. I really am. Like, that's where I kind of feel like I just don't believe there's inner strife there. And, Pete Carroll's been there way too long. There's no draft picks. There's no influx of new talent. Like, O-line's still bad. D-line got better this year. I will give them that. But, like, yikes. I don't see it, man. I don't see it. From Mike. What game do you see that could be a dark horse type of game that could scare us? Yeah, there's a couple of those. The Vikings, that one kind of scares me a little bit just because the Vikings kind of always play really good against top-tier talent. Unless it's in prime time, then they disappear. But that's one that I don't really, really like, and somebody's going to shock us on the road. I talked about Lions, Eagles, Jaguars, and Bengals. One of those 4 teams is going to come out and punch us in the mouth. And who's it going to be? I don't know. It happens, so often. Any given Sunday, it's been typed to this chat. You sit there and you say, yeah, okay, these are easy matchups, but some team's going to come out. There's no doubt about that. Some team's going to come out and shock us. It just happens. Sean, was that your podcast with Aponte? It was, man. That was a lot of fun. I had Aponte on. I'm going to be on with him tomorrow. I believe tomorrow. I don't know when it's going to air, but I'm going to be on his podcast with him tomorrow and somebody else's. And a little bit of a spoiler here. Maybe I won't share this one yet. But you guys said that you had some guests. One of the most voted person that you wanted me to have on the podcast reached out. We've got that set up coming up next week. So stay tuned for that because whatever you guys want, I'm going to do. So whenever you guys ask for things, that I'm going to do it. That's just what this is. This is your podcast. I get to talk, but it's your podcast. So whatever the hell you guys want, you let me know. Again, reach out to me. Twitter at JL_Chapman. You can email me, 49ers Rush Podcast. And sometimes I can't do everything. I'm still a full-time teacher. But whatever y'all want, I'm going to do it. That's just what it is. Terrell, last year for Wilson in Seattle, can you elaborate, please? Yeah, I just think this is done. He came out and said, I wanted to be traded to these 3 teams. Seattle's not protecting them. What do? Trade away their future draft choices. They go out and they draft another skinny, small wide receiver who I like in Eskridge. I think he's a hell of a player. He's the most sacked quarterback every year. He wants out. Pete Carroll's the oldest coach in football, chomping his gum all the time. That just situation's getting toxic. It really, really is. And so, yeah, I don't expect Wilson. I think he wants out. This is kind of like the last hurrah. And we'll have to see what happens because, again, like they just don't have any draft picks. And guess what? They don't have any draft picks next year either. That first-round pick for that strong safety, that's gone again. And actually, the only team that has a first-round pick next year in the NFC West is the Arizona Cardinals. Rams traded theirs for Stafford. We traded ours for Lance. And the Seahawks traded it for a strong safety / edge rusher. So I don't want to be, you take that for whatever you will. John, what rookie are you most happy to see if he plays this year? I'm throwing Trey Lance out just because that's the obvious pick. Ambry Thomas, I've been going through his film like crazy and just watching it, man, it's so easy to see the transition. It's so easy to see what's going on. And this is going to be our next episode. Our next full breakdown episode, which I've just been diving into this kid's past, his family life, everything about, his coaching, total leader. Oh my gosh. And had a lot of rough issues growing up. High school coach died while he was, it's highlights are fun. And it's so like, here's what I'll say. Okay. Reuben Foster. Probably the coolest college highlights you've ever seen in your life. I'm a linebacker. Like, that's my blood. That's my DNA. Played that position amongst other positions, but I always consider myself a linebacker. And his highlights were the best thing in the world. You can go watch them right now, and it just pumps you up. Like, AC/DC just starts playing in the back of my mind, like, immediately, and I'm just like, ah! Like, I love it. However, that doesn't tell you who he is. And whenever you dove into, his past, it wasn't good. And a lot of players aren't good. Or there's no past, and you can't find anything. But whenever you meet, and I say meet, I haven't met Ambry Thomas. I don't know him. But whenever you find out the stuff that they go through and the stuff that they triumph over, and this guy's had some major hurdles in his life, recent ones too, not because of character. God, no. Amazing character. Amazing human. Like, I look up to this kid, and he's way younger than me. He's not a kid. He's a man. But anyway, whenever you see those things, you just say, like, holy cow. Like, there's more. There's nuance to who this person is as a human, and it's inspiring. Like, it's so cool to like see what this guy went through, and then you watch the game tape and you're just like, all right. So you've got, the talent, you've got the background, you've got the character, you've got the triumphing over adversity. This is somebody that is fighting for this. And then meanwhile, there's some people that, are rumored to be drafted number 3 that just don't give a shit about it. And they're out drinking and they don't develop their body. And like, they're not even trying to put on good publicity, or they're not even trying to like prove to people that they care. And it's this entitled kind of like, oh yeah, I'm this, I'm that. Like, it just comes across and you just feel it and you're just like, no like. You don't get that with Ambry Thomas. I think I went a little long on your conversation, but I'm very pumped for this kid. And he's going to get playing time this year in 2021. I mean, he is one injury away from starting. And I think that he's going to be that outside guy. And he's going to get a start on special teams, which is going to be fun. And return game is as bad as it can be for any team in the NFL. Ambry Thomas is going to be returning kicks week 1. That's what it is. So you can kind of take that for whatever you want to see. Anyway, this has been fun. I've really, really enjoyed this. And man, I feel way better now. Not that I felt bad before, but again, there was going to be some point in looking at the schedule where I was just going to be like, man, why'd they do that? Like, that's not cool. Don't feel that at all. This is a great damn schedule. And I don't think I've ever said that. This is my 5th schedule breaking down with you guys on the 49ers Rush podcast. Yeah, man. I love it. I love it. Everything just keeps going better. Everything's going better this year. 2020 sucked. 2021, I'm telling you, ladies and gents, it's great. We trade up to 3. Nailed the Trey Lance pick. So excited about that. The future of this program. Got the schedule. Nick Bosa's back. We're going to be hanging out freaking at the games this year. Oh, I'm so excited. I love it. Anyway, that's going to do it for us today. We've got lots more podcasts coming your way. Next episode is going to be all on Ambry Thomas. I've got a guest coming. We're going to be recorded this weekend. I'll release it later this week. I won't tell you who it is, but I will promise you this. You know who he is. And he's as good as they get. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And again, if there's people that you want me to interview, throw it out there. And some of the people that get a lot of votes, they don't even follow me, and their DMs aren't even open. And I'm trying to reach out to them, and I can't. So I'm going to try to get whoever I can. So if there's some people that you're requesting and I don't get, it's not always on me. And I don't want to blast them and say, oh, well, this person doesn't follow me and they don't care, whatever. I don't want to do that. I'm not a negative guy. At least I don't want to be. Anyway. You guys are the best. Love this schedule. And as always, stay strong, faithful.